And today we're going to be talking on comparisonitis. Now, if you are a newer Reiki practitioner out there, or if you are starting off your Reiki business or in your Reiki business, and you have the tendency to compare yourself to others, that is what we're going to be talking to today, and why we do it, and how can we get out of the habit and really own our own truth around the work that we do, because we really want to ideally attract the clients who resonate with our energy. We don't want to be creating a persona that is based off of someone else, because then we're not going to get the clients that really truly are our match. So we don't want to change our energy, because it's going to be inauthentic. It's going to have an energetic fingerprint, if you will. And we want to just be authentically ourselves, our true nature when we do our practice. And so that is what we're going to be talking about today, comparisonitis. And I just want to start off by telling you a little bit about my story. And how my story, I think we all, when we begin, kind of compare ourselves to others, and sometimes it can benefit us and sometimes it can't. So when I started my Reiki journey 20 years ago, I was very young. I was 20 years old, and I was given like Essential Reiki as my manual, and I was given some tools and support from my Reiki master, which I absolutely appreciated. And I didn't have anyone to compare myself to. I was in Alaska at the time working at a birth center, and there wasn't, Facebook wasn't a thing yet, and Instagram wasn't a thing yet. Yes, I am totally dating myself. And in that, it was kind of nice knowing that, like, oh, I'm just going to do my thing and figure it out. And I'm going to call on my Reiki guides, and I'm going to learn how to do this. And when social media really started to pick up, then it was like, oh, am I doing this wrong? Was I supposed to read this book? Was I supposed to do this manual? Was I supposed to have a Reiki master's training that looked like X, Y, and Z? Because there was finally something to compare it to. I feel like getting my attunements and training in Alaska and then in Montana, I didn't have a lot of people to compare to, just because of the demographic that I was around. And in a way, that served me in the fact that I made my own path. I made my own path with the books that I read, with the self-healing journey that I was on. And I didn't have anything to compare that to, because I didn't have a spiritual community. And in a way, that worked for me. However, once the information kind of started coming out and become available about what a Reiki level 1 class should include, and what should a Reiki master's class include, I started going, well, do I have the education that I need to have a business? If I wanted to grow a practice, do I actually have the training that I need? And part of it was like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? I obviously don't have the same expertise as the people who have been doing this for longer than me. And then settling into, it is okay that I'm different. It is okay that I've had the healing journey that I have, because I'm going to attract the people who resonate with that healing journey. And my healing journey included narcissistic, emotional abuse from, my first marriage. It was the developing of very deep despair and depression and anxiety. It was developing an autoimmune that really affected my health and wellness. It was the struggling with a baby and a toddler through postpartum depression that really kept me up every single night, all hours of the night, because I had a colicky baby. That was my healing story. And I resonated to the people who needed my healing because of my healing story, and how my healing journey led me to Reiki and led me to opening my business, opening to my own work with the chakras. That is what really drove people to see me as a practitioner. I was owning my healing story, not going out and reading the textbooks. It wasn't going out and filling in my educational gaps. It was one first, and I highly recommend this, heal yourself, do the self Reiki practice, stick with it continuously, even when you do start your own business. Know that your Reiki practice is the backbone of your practice. And when you have that, and you have this personal experience of a healing transformational journey, people will want to know about it. People will want to hear about it and resonate with that. And that is what will attract your clients. So if you are looking down at your clothing and go, but I don't look the part, I want you to scratch that because not everyone needs the Reiki practitioner that has the bohemian look, that looks like a hippie, that is a flowy and going energy. That's going to meet the needs for some people, but not all people. And so your audience, your clientele is going to be attracted to you, for how you show up, how you look, how your healing story. And that's what's going to energetically pull them into your experience, because they're going to feel into, wow, she struggled and she made it. Wow, she looks and resonates like me. I can relate to this person, and therefore I want to trust them. And so if you are covered in tattoos and piercings, be covered in tattoos and piercings, own that energy, show up for who you are and how you explore life, and share your story. And people are going to resonate with that and come to you. And so this is not about changing who you are. This is not about going, well, they have the ideal practice and therefore I have to change my energy to meet that. And so with that, I have definitely gotten caught into comparisonitis every once in a while. For example, as you may have noticed, that Andrea Kennedy has blown up on YouTube this year. And I'm so freaking happy for her. She is amazing. And her business called Mainstream Reiki is for mainstream Reiki. This is a very that is her audience. If you want the more clinical, approachable setting, if you want the clear-cut expectations of what a Reiki level 1 class looks like and level 2 class works, she's a great role model. And I highly recommend it if that is what you're looking for. But when I compare myself to Andrea Kennedy, I'm like, well, we don't have the same mission statement. It might be similar, but it's not the same. And I am totally, let's think outside the box. Let's mix modalities. Let's show up and however you are and however your clientele matches. So I want to read off Reiki Cafe University's mission statement to exemplify what I mean by this. Reiki Cafe University serves Reiki practitioners who yearn to broaden their spiritual and business education beyond what is taught in the traditional Reiki classes. We believe every Reiki practitioner, regardless of background and or experience level, has the capacity to step into their Reiki dreams by first healing themselves through the chakras and become empowered spiritual entrepreneurs. Reiki Cafe University believes that our programs and courses will help our graduates heal the world one community at a time. And so the reason why I bring this up is because I know that we are here to serve Reiki practitioners. I'm not here to serve the general population, that we are here to serve and create spiritual entrepreneurs. So we're going to bring them through, our students and our clients, through the personal healing process, really emphasizing the chakras. So if you are a traditional Reiki Rojo practitioner and you don't subscribe to the chakras, that you look at it through the diamond system, the 3 energy centers, it's not going to necessarily match. That's okay. But I'm being very clear, this is how I teach and who I serve, and I'm not going to mold myself into something that I'm not. We also have a very futuristic future-oriented business model where we are pulling people into their future versions of themselves and really creating their Reiki dreams. So we aren't looking at the past necessarily of what has been done before. We're constantly looking at the future. How can we have innovative change in the industry that will then serve our communities and populations? So as we heal our Reiki students by their personal self-healing journey, then they can go heal the world one community at a time. And so I have a different mission statement. So I don't need to compare myself to the other Reiki practitioners out there because my mission statement identifies with my personal mission and purpose in this life. And when I know that in my solar plexus, that identity of who I am, what my mission statement is, and then it rolls over into the identity of my business and my business mission statement, then that rings true to me, and I can speak to that with passion and clarity and conviction because there's clarity there, right? And so we have numerous business courses and previous blogs and podcasts on this topic of why it's so important to have that clarity. And it's because when you have clarity, the comparisonitis falls away. I no longer am looking to what other people are doing. I am looking at who am I and how do I serve? Who is my ideal client? How can I most benefit them? And from that place, I'm going to do magic happens. Not only do I get to stay in my zone of genius, my zone of magic, I'm inviting others to do so as well. And I'm empowering my clients to be authentically who they are, my students to be authentically who they are, no longer needing to change. Because honestly, how I think is that I don't want to change anyone. That's not the point of that's not how you empower a client or a student. We want them to drop and dissolve their limiting beliefs. We want and foresee them to dissolve anything that no longer serves them so that their true essence of who they are, their higher self, can come forward so that they can really step into their own personal power and be who they are, because we know that there are hundreds of potential clients out there ready to meet that energy. And that is how we're going to change the world, one community at a time. And so that is the essence of Reiki Cafe University. And that's why I love doing what I do, is because we aren't asking anyone to change. And so even when it comes to the business models that we teach about and how to do things, it so often is like, well, what is the most joyous path for you? If you don't like doing webinars or you don't like doing freebies, like what is going to be the most expansive, joyful way for you to connect with your audience, whether in person or online? We want to do what's going to feel immensely good for you. And so we are constantly personalizing our advice and the way we structure things, because that is the way business grows when you get to be authentically you. You're not changing and adhering to a 5-step surefire way to grow your business. Like when we get into these marketing traps online that we see all the time, this 5 steps to business success for 10K months. Well, they're putting you in a box, and that box only works for a very small percentage of people. And oftentimes we notice that the business coaches in those programs haven't had that type of success. They're selling you a story, and we don't subscribe to that. We subscribe to what is going to be most joyful and powerful and exciting and adventurous and feel good for you, and feel into what that looks like. Because when you get to be authentically you without change, without comparing yourself to the way others do it, then you're going to be in alignment. And when you're in alignment, there is no need to hustle. It's like you're just going to attract. You're just going to attract the potential clients. You're going to attract the audience. You're going to feel good as a student, telling people online about what you are learning and starting to plant those seeds so that when your business is ready to open and welcome in new clients, that they already know who you are. They already know what you've been learning. They know the modalities that you've been incorporating into your Reiki practice. And then they're going to be like, hell yeah, I've watched you transform and heal and do your own self-healing practice. And now now I'm ready to serve my community. And you are going to have the audience that's going to come in and be like, hell yes, I want some of that. And so that's really one of my favorite joys about teaching and supporting our students here at Reiki Cafe University is really allowing people to be exactly who they are. We're accepting them for as they come and letting them dissolve those limiting beliefs and really be who they are. Now, let's go back. Let's take a couple steps back and go, why do we compare? Why do we have comparisonitis? And when is it appropriate to actually support your business? Okay, so here, let's take a couple of steps back. One, I kind of want you to feel into what kind of personality you have. Meaning, are you a perfectionist? Are you power focused, meaning that you're driven and competitive and like criticize others? Are you the procrastinator, or are you the people pleaser? So feel into which of these four categories that you tend to lean towards. Now, notice if you are the perfectionist or the people pleaser, this is the everything has to be perfect before I put it out. I want people to see me as perfect. I want to hide my flaws. I don't want to be seen as a failure. And so everything has to be perfect so I can feel safe and lovable. And when you feel safe and lovable, then I'll do it. Then I'll share my stuff, whether that is a Facebook post or a live or whatever it may be, but it has to be perfect. Okay. And then the people pleaser is like, I want to adhere to others' expectations. So if they need me to act X, Y, and Z, they need me to be soft and calm and gentle in my tone and my language and how I put myself out there, because that's what this type of client needs. Is that authentically you? You're molding yourself to people please. And in that people pleasing, you believe that by putting others' needs above your own, then you'll be happy, you'll be safe and loved. And so it all comes back to our subconscious work around limiting beliefs. If you believe that you have to change to people and then therefore people please to be safe, then you're looking around at what other people are doing and how can you mold yourself. If you're the perfectionist, you're really comparing to make sure that you're the image of success, that you are going to be the perfect Reiki practitioner and the image of what a Reiki practitioner, quote unquote, should look like before you put yourself out. Why? Because you want to protect yourself. Your subconscious wants to protect itself to feel loved and safe. Right now, if you're the procrastinator, you're comparing and procrastinating because you're avoiding doing the thing because you don't feel like whatever you do is going to be good enough. And so you will feel overwhelmed. You'll feel hopeless because why even try? Everyone else is already doing it better than me. And so I'm just going to avoid all of it and not do anything so I'll be safe. So notice right now, we've touched on three. We've got the perfectionist, the procrastinator, the people pleaser, all with an underlying limiting belief that if I do X, then I will be safe. I will be loved if I do it this way. Okay. Then you have the power focused individual. And this is the person who is competitive and they criticize and they push their way around. And there's not a lot of comparisonitis going on. However, and this type of personality, comparisonitis might serve them to tone it down a bit because their focus is on if I make more money, if I have more followers, if I have X amount of people following me, then I'll be loved. And so they need the numbers. And so, but what happens is that the power hungry person really is impulsive and they're really motivated and strong and sometimes manipulative. And when they can look around and go, is this adhering to the Gokai, the Reiki principles of just for today, be kind to every living thing, just for today, will not anger? How are other Reiki practitioners actually doing their business differently, where it doesn't have to be so strong, so masculine energy? Because Reiki authentically is very feminine. It's very gentle, right? And so we don't have to push our way through things and to be really in that state of, this is who I am. I can show up as I am. And if I've done my Reiki self-healing today, and since I started my practice, since I started my training, then you can deep into your own sense of alignment, your own higher self. And this is what I love. I love taking those 3 breaths before I get on a client call and really tuning into my higher self, letting that Reiki energy flow and letting that version of Christine, my higher self version of Christine, show up for my clients and welcome in my clients' higher self version of who they are. Because when I can tap into that, then all of their own limiting beliefs are more easily and welcome to fall away. Okay, so then let's take a couple steps forward. If you have identified as the perfectionist, the procrastinator, or people pleaser, what do you do? What can you do? So if you're the perfectionist and you're analyzing every single option available of how to move forward, what you want to kind of tune in and go, and here's one of my favorite. I used to be a perfectionist. I was totally a type A personality in high school and college and all of those things. And now today, my favorite motto is done is better than perfect. If every podcast I had to put out had to be perfect, if every webinar I did had to be scripted and really presented perfectly, one, I wouldn't authentically be me. Like, I need to show up in my imperfection. I have to, and it would never get out there. I wouldn't have ever built my business. And so I had to release a lot of the perfectionism. It needs to have the perfect colors and the perfect brand imaging and all of these things, and really let that go and just be like, I am perfect in my imperfection. And in my imperfection, done is better than perfect. And so taking time to really allow for imperfect action, allowing yourself and inviting yourself to make mistakes, to fail, because in those failings, you're trying, you're attempting, you're putting yourself out there, and your audience seeing you fail makes you human. It makes you human. It makes you who you are. And so I am really comfortable going, I'm going to put this out there because it is absolutely me. And guess what? I'm going to piss off some people. I am going to make some people angry over this opinion. And what that does is it narrows down my audience to the audience that really resonates with my energy. And so I don't need a list of 10,000 people. I don't need a group of 10,000 on my list. I need to resonate with the people who really connect with my energy, who really value the opinion I have. And in that space, I'm going to attract them as a client and or a student, right? And so show up being willing to have flaws and imperfections is going to make you trustworthy. That's going to make you, to your audience, feel like you're human and that they can connect with them. And so I invite the perfectionist to feel into that. Now, if you are the procrastinator, oh my goodness, the procrastinator. I have a lot of procrastination tendencies too. I ended up, when I hired on Izzy, I identified her right away as a perfectionist, but still able to get things done, partly because she was doing it for my business and not for herself, that she could just put out the content. So if you're a procrastinator, butting up with an accountability partner who's a perfectionist is going to help serve you. And so Isabel Wells, who is one of our ReikiCafe professors, really helps me in this, because I am a procrastinator. I will wait until the last minute to do my podcast or to schedule a thing that needs to be scheduled, and to have someone hold me accountable who's like, hey, did he get that thing done today? Really, really helps. So procrastinators, your first step is to get an accountability buddy, because who's really going to do it, who's going to help you make sure you get the things done that week done. Because you might have a burst of energy in the beginning and then you start to fall off, right? You start to fall off after 4, 5, 6 weeks when it's no longer a mindset issue. And then we're going back into the subconscious of going, all right, if I just don't do anything, I'll be safe. Okay, so that's the procrastinator's subconscious mind is like, if I don't do anything, I'll be safe. Okay, so, and what this kind of shows up as is you might ghost a client, meaning they book a session and you don't show up. You say that you're going to attend something and you don't, or you just don't follow through, or you put your post out there like you're supposed to, but then you forget to comment on all of the comments on the post and engage them. You share something in the newsletter, and when the emails come to ask for that booking of a session, you don't respond. Those are all, real life examples of how the procrastinators self-sabotage, because if they don't show up, then they're safe. Okay. And so what do we do? What do we do with that? And so here we really want to focus in on self-love practices, going, I am worthy to build my business. I am worthy, and just the way I am, just the way God made me, fill in the blank if God doesn't, that language doesn't fit for you, and really feel into, I am available to share my feelings with someone I trust and know that I'm going to be safe. So you're training your subconscious to be vulnerable and to show that it's going to be safe. So this is a really good pre-practice that, okay, how can I train my brain, my subconscious mind, and give it proof that it's going to be safe if I show up? So, and that is why being vulnerable with your spouse, with a good friend, and watch them not judge you. Watch them just lovingly support you, and even telling them in the beginning, I need to have a vulnerable conversation with you, and I just need you to listen and be supportive. That is your job. And I trust you to do that job as a way for my subconscious mind to heal, to know that I'm not going to be rejected. And so it's going to be safe for me to be vulnerable and share my short story later on social media. Okay. So we want to start moving our body and really beginning to let go of worry about others' judgment and thoughts of how things are showing up. So noticing too, if there is panic, if there is your heart racing, worrying about other people's judgment. This all comes back to solar plexus of not loving yourself enough and worrying about what others are going to judge you for, right? And so really bringing in your senses is going to help you feel safe in your body. So this is that somatic healing work that you can do, and really go, what are 5 things that I can see right now? What are 4 things that I can touch? What is the texture of them? What can I feel? What are 3 things that I can hear? What are 2 things that I can smell? And what's 1 thing I can taste? And anytime you're feeling any of that raising heart rate, that panic coming in, this is a great bring me back into my body and really feel into myself right now. Okay. And so when we do this, we're learning how to self-regulate that subconscious fear of that I'm not safe. And so I just might as well freeze and shut down, hide and avoid, right? So notice that if you're looking at your autonomic nervous system, this is the freeze pattern. I'm going to avoid the pain. I'm going to avoid the judgment. I'm going to avoid, right? And how can we unravel that to say, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And then when you go online, when you start putting stuff out for your business, take note that no one harassed you, no one beat you up, no one called you out. And if they did, compare it to how many people supported you versus the one person who ripped you apart or whatever it is. when you can go, it was worth it. It didn't matter. I'm not going to let it affect me. That was one person, and there was 100 people that loved what I had to say. And so don't give up. It really is training your subconscious that you are safe in this work. And notice that oftentimes I find people with this pattern who have the witches past life, who have been hung, who have been burned at the stake, that witches past life, who they were very much brought to death because that they were judged for who they were, that they spoke out and then got burned. And so if you think that is you, if you've had a witches as a past life that led to death, you have to remind your subconscious that this is a new lifetime and you can say and do whatever you want. They can't burn you this time. And so I'm throwing that in there because oftentimes I find Reiki practitioners, especially women who have those past lives, and then they're afraid to show up this lifetime. They're afraid to do the things because they don't want other people to judge them. But this is the root cause is actually from that past life. And we want to tell our bodies that was then, and this is a new era. No one can do that to me now. I am safe, and keep building the proof that you're safe. Okay, let's talk about people pleasers. People pleasers. People pleasers is the very observant. They want to figure out who their audience is and really show up for them and change for them and mold themselves to them. And they're consistently hiring others to tell them what to do, to tell them who to be. And so whether that's courses or whatever, and they're also overgivers to their clients. They're available way too much because they're constantly bending over backwards to make their clients happy. And so they're going way above and beyond. Their prices are way too low, and they're afraid to really speak their truth and give boundaries. And so this is really important for the people pleasers to go, is it worth it? Is it worth saying yes every time and then me getting sick because I have an autoimmune? Is this worth it to consistently put myself in this position of doing 10 sessions and only making $100, $200 because I did it all by donation? Is it worth it? I can't even pay the childcare that I needed because I was doing all my sessions for too low of a price. So those are some of the downfalls of the people pleaser, and that they oftentimes will neglect their own self-care needs. And this person needs to make themselves a priority. And so this is figuring out what helps you get into that aligned state of mind that brings in their higher self. Is it the walk in the morning? Is it taking your coffee outside and enjoying nature? Is this the person that needs to meditate every day? Is this the person that needs their oracle time with their oracle cards? Like, what is it for you that helps you get centered and fills your cup first? And so the people pleaser really needs to recognize where their gas tank is at, because they can't give on an empty cup, on an empty tank. And so really filling your own cup first, doing your self-care practice first, and then putting your client second is going to be a huge shift that I highly recommend. Because when you're full and when you are overflowing in abundance, you can have fun in that, and you'll be able to stand in your truth going, no, we just had a 100-minute session, therefore I'm charging this. And so it's really about practicing using your voice and expressing your thoughts and opinions and going, I'm first. I am first. I put myself first. And when you can put yourself first, and then you'll realize that you will have the clientele showing up that wants you to put yourself first and wants you to be in the best health state so that you can offer the Reiki sessions from the best version of yourself, not from the lack version of yourself who's spent, right? And so you might have difficulty even attracting clients from the state because you're too tired. You're not being your authentic true self because you're too spent to show up in that way. And so we need to validate ourselves and to go, I am worthy to do this work. I'm worthy to do the self-healing work and really face what difficult childhood wounds that you have, and doing the inner child work that brought the subconscious mind forward, that really said that I'm not lovable unless I people please. So the people pleaser really needs to deep dive. And I love doing this work with clients because it is so common. It is especially common in women, that our value is based on how much we get done for everyone else, as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, as a daughter. Like, it is all based on service to others, and really going, that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me well. And so really focusing then on taking a moment to going, I am worthy to be exactly who I am. I am lovable just the way I am. And I release these core weeds in my subconscious that is making me show up this way, to think that I am not worthy of love unless I serve, unless I put others first. And that's a big one. So just to recap, we have all these different personality types, and we can see where comparisonitis really fits in, and how we need to shift into always, what is going to serve me first? How can I heal me first? Where's my self-practice, whether that is with Reiki or meditation or whatever your desired self-practice is, to really fully show up as your authentic you. And when you are available to show up as your authentic you, then you will attract the clients that will meet that energy. Not molding yourself to someone else, not being the perfectionist and going, well, unless I show up perfect, then I'm not safe. This is about you showing up and being okay with you 100% the way you are. And when you do that, you're going to be okay not wearing makeup and wearing a funny wool sweater like I am today, and just being like, this is who I am. I mean, down to the core root of who I am. I own way too many wool sweaters and I absolutely love them. And I live in a very cold place and I love it here. And this is who I am. And so, yes, I am going to go work on the garden, and I don't want to put on makeup today. And that is okay, because I know that my work and the work that I do and the expertise that I work in is going to be worthy of the clients that resonate with my energy, that I don't need to wear makeup and have my hair done, that I don't need to always show up that way. There's definitely going to be times where I feel excited and motivated and excited to put myself together and show up in that capacity. And I love doing that too, but I don't want to have to do it every single day because of some online standard that I need to show up for. That's not why I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it when it feels right, when it feels exciting, when it feels joyful, when it feels playful. That's when I'm going to do it. And I'm still going to be true to who I am and not adhere to someone else's standards. So here's to throwing out the box. Once again, Reiki Cafe is throwing out the box and inviting you to be authentically you, showing up as you, and receiving the support to let those limiting beliefs fall away. Knowing that you are truly safe, that you're truly loved and supported just as you are. Come as you are. And we welcome you at the Reiki Cafe University, whether you are looking for individual coaching sessions, business consultations, or looking to be a student at Reiki Cafe University. We have our upcoming shamanic Reiki practitioner training, as well as Reiki coaching going to be opening for enrollment in the fall. So definitely keep your eye out for that, and know if any of this resonates with you. I want to hear from you. I want to know which personality type you typically fall into, and what action steps you can take today to start releasing those, to know that you are truly safe and truly lovable just the way you are, and knowing that your clientele is going to be attracted to that, loving you the way you are. And that is the key to business success here at the Reiki Cafe University. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.